What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another H.A.T format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your H.A.T format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. But anyways, the match I have for you today, we have Blab, who is going to be on Heraldic hands. It's been a little while since I showed off Heraldic, so I figured it was time, versus Rhaegar, who is going to be on kind of a teched out spirit control deck, which I thought was pretty cool, so I figured we would go over this match. It should be a very good one, so let's get straight into it. Here, it looks like Blab does win the rock, paper, scissors, so they will get to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Bottomless Trap Hole, Leo, Instant Fusion, Advanced Heraldry Art, and Kagado Kage. Very strong hand. And on the other side, we see Aritama, Creature Swap, Aritama, Nikitama, and Mask of Darkness. Kind of interesting to see that in a, spirit type deck, but we will have to see if that actually comes up and what implications it actually has. And honestly, their hand would have been, I would say, a bit stronger had they gone first. Just being able to get like Aritama searches and stuff right away, but not too bad of a hand. It kind of has a bit of a problem against certain back row and stuff, so we will see what happens here. But anyways, Blab will get to draw for turn here, getting a copy of Ice Hand. So I guess, yeah, they are on the hands here, summoning Leo and then special summoning the Kagado Kage. From here, they are going to overlay for King of the Feral Imps, detaching the Leo to add a Kagado Kage, and then Leo effect will trigger to add a copy of Aberconway. Next, they will set 2 back row, setting the Instant Fusion as a bluff there, over to Rhaegar, who gets a copy of Legacy Yatagarasu, so kind of cool to see that, especially with the creature swap already here. They're going to start by normal summoning Nikitama, and then additional summoning the Aritama to then add a copy of Ritetsu. I'm going to go over this because it's been a while. This one says cannot be special summoned. During the end phase of the turn, this card is normal or flip face up, return it to the hand. When this card is normal summoned or flip face up, you can reveal a spirit monster from your hand except itself. Then target one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this effect. Okay, so kind of cool, like a compulse. And so from here, they're going to go creature swap for the King of the Feral Imps and giving Blab the Nikitama here. Probably just to out it here, they're going to set the Legacy Yatagarasu. They could have technically, if they didn't feel super threatened, they could have gone and maybe waited on the creature swap, so then when they activate the Legacy Yatagarasu, they could get 2 draws, but obviously wanting to out the King of the Feral Imps as quickly as possible is usually a good play here, and during the end phase, the Nikitama will return to hand, and here the Aritama will too, so Rhaegar does get to keep the King of the Feral Imps. A lot of times, though, the spirit control decks do play Kagado Kage for themselves, so kind of interesting to see that maybe Rhaegar isn't on Kagado Kage, because if not, they could have used this King of the Feral Imps to actually get a Kagado Kage. So anyways, over to Blab, who gets a copy of Phoenix Wing Windblast, so another very good draw here, and let's see what they do. Here they're going to summon Aberconway, then go Instant Fusion, choosing to hold the Kagado Kage here, and they're going to summon Madolche, and then from here, they're taking a second to think. They're going to go for Lightning Chidori, really cool, being able to, target that back row and potentially stack it to, let me just double check this, to the bottom of the deck. But it looks like Rhaegar is going to chain the Legacy Yatagarasu to get a draw here, drawing into another copy of Nikitama. Then Chidori is going to detach the Aberconway to, put back the King of the Feral Imps. Next, Advanced Heraldry Art is going to be able to be activated, summoning back the Leo and Aberconway, very strong, and then overlaying for, let's see, for the King of the Feral Imps, maybe it's the one they put back, or they're on multiple, detaching the Leo again, getting a copy of Kagado Kage, Leo effect, then adding another Aberconway. This deck is so cool. It's always been like one of my pet decks too, so really cool to see this going battle phase and attacking in with both for a good amount of damage, and then setting the Wing Blast and passing it over to Rhaegar, who gets a copy of Soul Drain. So kind of interesting to see that they're maining this as well, but we will have to see what happens. Soul Drain is a really crazy card, like especially in a matchup like this, things like the hands to an extent, as well as things like the Leo and stuff. This can hurt so many decks. While it can kind of have a small effect on Rhaegar's deck here, I feel it definitely hurts other decks a lot more. But anyways, looking at this, they're going to summon the Nikitama, additional summon the Aritama, and this time adding a copy of Yamato no Kami. We've seen this before in a couple other replays. It's a really cool card that when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, control, you're able to destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls, and also just being kind of like a spirit beat stick and one of the few that can actually be special summoned, or I guess I should say that it needs to be special summoned. So really cool to see that. Let's see what they're going to go for here. Here Blab is thinking, and they are going to activate that Wing Blast and discard the Aberconway, putting back the Nikitama, and that's enough for Rhaegar to just scoop it up. You know, unfortunately, they just were a little outpaced there by Blab's hand, but this time they will get to start things off. This time, opening hands, we see Ice Hand, Soul Charge, Kagado Kage, Debunk, and Leo, so pretty solid hand from Blab here. And on the other side, we see Torrential, Mirror Force, Mask of Darkness again, Aritama, and Yaksha. So let's see what they'll get to do, especially getting to draw here, getting a copy of Bottomless, so they do have a lot of traps, and here they can go for Aritama, use the effect, and add a copy of Nikitama, so they're kind of set up now. Go to end phase, and the Aritama will bounce back over to Blab, who gets a copy of Photon Thrasher, so that's an even better draw here, being able to special summon it out as a free body here. Then normal summoning the copy of Leo, but that gets met with Bottomless. Very strong play there, making sure that that Leo doesn't go to graveyard to get searches or fuel things like the Advanced Heraldry Art, which is such a powerful card here. But unfortunately, that does mean that now Blab does have only the Thrasher on board, so it can attack, and it's going to do quite a lot of damage here. And then it looks like they are just setting the debunk and passing it back over to Rhaegar, who gets a copy of Max C, and they're going to summon Nikitama, then additional summon the Yaksha, which is going to bounce the debunk back to hand. Next, they're going to overlay for a copy of 101, use the effect, and take that Thrasher and push in for 21 of their own. Back over to Blab, who now gets a copy of MST. They're going to summon the Ice Hand and special the Kagado Kage, and unfortunately the Max C is going to come down for them here, and Rhaegar will get a copy of Book of Moon, so pretty solid card, but they are going to think here. They are going to overlay for Exciton, and Rhaegar will get another draw here, getting a copy of Fiendish Chain, and this is kind of an awkward position, because even if they go for this Exciton here, this 101 will be able to protect itself because it has material. So, I mean, it'll clear the back row, but it doesn't really deal too well with the actual card at hand here. Obviously, Blab doesn't know about the Book of Moon either, so it's kind of a weird position to be in, but we will see what happens here. Here they are going to activate it, and on the summon, Torrential is going to be chained here, so in that exact instance, because the Torrential is trying to destroy the 101 as well as the Exciton, it's going to lose the material and get destroyed here. But now it is somewhat of a simplified game state. Let's see, it looks like Blab is just going to set the debunk over to Rhaegar, who gets, I believe that was another Nikitama there? Or, yeah, I believe that was the Nikitama, which they're just going to summon, and additional summon the Aritama, search a copy of Tsukiyomi. Okay, so definitely not a card you see very often, but it does have places where it can be very strong. Here going to battle phase and pushing in for some damage, setting some back row, and bouncing the spirits back to hand. Over to Blab, who gets another copy of Debunk. And they're going to go blind MST. Let's see what they hit here. Hitting the Book of Moon. Then going for a Soul Charge play. Summoning all fours. And just for anyone wondering, cards like Kagado Kage and Thrasher say that they can't be normal summoned or set and must first be special summoned. So he is able to special summon this. And same with this, that it must first be special summoned with its own effect. So, you know, those were properly summoned. So this is completely legal here. And going down to 1300 life, but being able to overlay for a copy of Lavalval Chain, using its effect, but it is met with a copy of Fiendish, and then just setting the other debunk, and back over to Rhaegar, who gets a copy of Yaksha. They're going to normal summon the Aritama, or the Nikitama, my bad, and then additional summon Yaksha, bouncing the debunk, going to battle phase and running over the Lavalval Chain, going to main phase 2, and let's see what they're going to do. Maybe Black Ship or something? No, going Cowboy. Okay, so just trying to put up kind of a defender here and also do some damage, because this is kind of like a 2-turn clock in a way, which is what's going to happen. And Blab top decks a copy of Leo. That's a good draw here, being able to overlay. Oh, so they go for the Black Ship to actually out the Cowboy, do 1000 damage, and the Leo was detached, so Blab will get a copy of Aberconway here, setting the debunk again. Here, Rhaegar draws a copy of Zing Zang Hu. Okay, so this says activate by selecting 2 set spell or trap cards on the field. The selected spell or trap cards cannot be activated. Kind of a funny card. You don't really see this at all. And it's not terrible, but into certain matchups, it's not great. In this exact situation, I guess it's all right, but these debunks weren't really doing anything else, unfortunately. Rhaegar is very close to actually closing out this game, but it's going to take a little more. Maybe if this Aritama was actually the Nikitama and they could get an additional summon, this would be able to potentially end out the game. But unfortunately, the Tsukiyomi doesn't have enough attack even after flipping the black ship to out it. So let's see what happens here. Aritama is going to be summoned. Oh, but they can add the Yamato no Kami. So by banishing the copy of Nikitama, they can special summon that and then just run over the black ship here. And Blab sees the writing on the wall and is going to scoop it up here. Moving on to a game number 3. Opening hands, we see Kagado Kage, Rhoda, Advanced Heraldry Art, actually 2 of them, and a Thrasher. So again, a pretty solid hand here from Blab. On the other side, we do see the Maxi, which is going to check something like a Kagado Kage, or even if they preemptively drop for the Thrasher, which probably isn't going to be the case here. Then we see Creature Swap, Xing Zhang Hu, Spirit's Invitation, I'll go over that in a second, and Black Horn of Heaven. So Spirit's Invitation says each time your spirit monster returns to the hand, select one monster on your opponent's side of the field and return it to the owner's hand. Pay 500 life points during each of your standby phases if you do not destroy this card. So really cool being able to, keep bouncing your stuff to hand and then keep bouncing the opponent's stuff for a pretty small maintenance cost. That's basically like every 2 bounces you go for with this, or I guess every 2 full turns that this stays on the field is basically just 1 monster off of something like a Soul Charge, for example. Obviously, the Spirit deck usually isn't playing Soul Charge because most of them can't be special summoned. But anyways, let's see what happens. Here, Blab gets a copy of Warning for turn, very strong draw. They're going to special the Thrasher, go Rhoda for Goblinderberg. Okay, next they're going to summon the Goblinderberg, and no effect here, and looks like they're going to go for Lavavel Chain. Activate Lavavel Chain to dump a copy of Leo add Aberconway. After that, they are going to set to back row, back over to Rhaegar, who gets Memory of an Adversary. This is a card that Spirit Control played a lot back in the day. It's not as common anymore, but it's still a very good card. It says when an opponent's monster declares an attack, take damage equal to the attacking monster's attack, and if you do, banish that monster. And then during the end phase of your opponent's next turn, special summon that monster to your side of the field. So a good way to get an extra body on board. Here it looks like Rhaegar's just going to set 5 back row and over to Blab, who gets a copy of Trap Stun. So maybe they were ready for something like this. Activating Lavavel Chain to dump an Aberconway. Maybe not. Maybe they're trying to go Leo and add an Aberconway, which, yep, is exactly what they're going to go for here. And they're going to take a second to think, maybe thinking if they want to go for that Advanced Heraldry Art, but it looks like they're just going to go Battle Phase. And here, Memory of an Adversary is going to be activated, banishing the Lavavel Chain, setting the Trap Stun. Here, Xing Zhang Hu is going to be activated, and unfortunately hitting that Trap Stun, which would have done wonders in this matchup here. And now another Xing Zhang Hu is drawn, setting it, and over to Blab, who gets another copy of Thrasher, which they're going to be able to special here, but that is met with the Black Horn of Heaven, so they're going to take a second to think. They're going to go normal Aberconway, go for Kagado Kage, the Max C is going to come down, and here it looks like Rhaegar's going to draw a copy of Nikitama and just go Battle Phase and poke in for a good amount of damage. Rhaegar isn't putting up a lot of pressure here, unfortunately. Main phase 2, they're going to go for King of the Feral Imps, and Rhaegar gets a Tsukiyomi as a draw, activate the King of the Feral Imps, and Rhaegar says it's good, adding a copy of Kagado Kage. Next, during the end phase, the Lavavel Chain is going to come back to Rhaegar's field. Oh, and Rhaegar does get a copy of Creature Swap, so this might be a little interesting here. And they're going to take a second to think. They're going to just hard summon the Tsukiyomi to flip the king, next activating Creature Swap. Interesting because, no, I guess it didn't really matter if they had gone for the Nikitama here, because they probably want to keep their Tsukiyomi, which will bounce back during the end phase, so no reason to make like a bigger push here. And here it looks like they go to end phase, and I'm not sure what Blab drew there. Maybe it was another Advanced Heraldry Art, I believe. Activating it, bringing back Leo and Leo. Overlaying for a copy of Exton, which cards we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, being able to go for this Exton here, detach the Leo, blow up all the cards here. And Leo will maybe trigger if they have targets, maybe not. Over to Rhaegar, who gets a copy of Fiendish Chain. And they're going to summon the Nikitama, use the Tsukiyomi to book the Exciton, go battle phase, run it over, and attack in with the Tsukiyomi, main phase 2, setting to back row, and the spirits are going to return over to Blab, who gets a copy of Firehand, and they're going to normal summon the Aberconway, go Kagero Kage, and it's not looking good for Rhaegar here. Next, they're going to go Advance Heraldry Art, bringing back the Leo and Leo, overlaying for a copy of 101 just to get some extra protection here, going battle phase, attacking with Kagero Kage, attacking with the Aberconway, attacking with Anarch. That might meet the Fiendish, which it is. Is there a Cowboy? No, there's a Direwolf. Okay, so maybe Blab isn't on a copy of Cowboy here, just going for the Direwolf to pop the other back row, hitting the creature swap, which is good, and then main phase 2, going for the Advanced Heraldry Art. Crazy that this card isn't once per turn. And maybe, oh, he even said here, I don't play Cowboy. Okay, so having to play this out does get a little more risky when you don't have that Cowboy. And overlaying for, oh, I guess they're taking a second to think here. Oh, so they're on the skill drains in the side, I'm guessing. And as a result, they had to make room for Crazy Box. So here, just going for Lavalval Chain, detaching a material to stack a Kagero Kage, so maybe they're only on one King of the Feral Imps as well. Anyways, over to Rhaegar, who gets an Aritama. So this could be close, because now they are kind of set up. They're still low on life, but they're having a little back and forth here. They're going to summon Nikitama, Aritama effect, and add a Nikitama. Oh, nope, they're going for the Yamato. Okay, so trying to put up some pressure. Here they're going to go 101 in defense to take the Lavalval Chain. Interesting that they'd go for that and not, I guess they don't want potential searches off of the Leo here, maybe? But at the same time, if you're trying to out this, maybe you should have gone for this and then special the Yamato and just run over the Lavalval Chain there. It's hard to say, honestly. Here they are going to special summon that Yamato, though, and then attack over the 101. Oh, wait, the 101 was on the Fiendish anyways, so it couldn't have even protected itself there. So I feel like maybe the result was kind of the same regardless, or actually, how much attack did the Yamato have? Yamato has 22, so I guess it didn't really matter, but you would have maybe even done a little more damage in that case if you did it the other way around by taking the... or maybe they were just trying to get the Lavalval or the Fiendish Chain off the board. Maybe that's why they chose to do that, so they weren't susceptible to like an Exciton if Blab's on multiple. But here, Blab draws a copy of Kagero Kage, which is like a perfect draw here, because they can summon the Firehand, special Kagero Kage, go for Black Ship, and send the 101. And that is just game. Okay, yeah, so very close game, honestly. And yeah, that was pretty cool to see. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.